Okay, welcome to, I already mispronounced the word, this is terrible, to Kill Your Gods Game of Thrones Edition, Season 1, and this is Episode 1, Episode 2. I will not bother to explain it because I'm sure I will in the intro. Joining me is my lovely, wearing black and pink, black leggings with the fluffy Native American tribal pattern, and yet a pink camisole, which tends to pull away from the goth perspective a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a preppy flair. My fiance, Miss Perri Lerner.
Hi. That was an interesting introduction.
I'm an interesting man. You picked an interesting fiance. What can I say?
I guess I did.
Yeah. So, we are watching Game of Thrones. And we literally just decided, as of a half hour ago, that this is how we're going to record these episodes. Like, we're going to record the episodes of the podcast based on the episodes of the show. As in, we just watched 2 of the episodes, and now we're coming in here and we're making an episode. Does this make sense?
No.
Okay, good. Glad we could clear everything out. So, I'm confused. So, alright. I was originally... a cousin of mine tried to make me watch this years ago, and they sold it to me as, you're going to love this show. It's full of blood and tits. Unfortunately for that cousin, all my entertainment involves blood and tits. Like, if I'm watching A Christmas Story, it's my special Christmas story with blood and tits. So, by the way, if you've never seen the movie Slapshot, Ralphie's mom from Christmas Story, nice long look at her boobs. And nice long look at Paul Newman looking at her boobs. And it's a great episode.
This is what I deal with.
I speak when spoken to. How about that? Hey. But they tried to make me get into the show. I watched a few episodes. I didn't like it. I thought it was dull. In the years since, the show has finished its run. I have also gotten into Lord of the Rings, which I actually had a bit of an aversion to the fantasy genre at first. So I'm wondering if not now, maybe Tolkien did a little bit of a number on me, and now J.R.R. Martin has
George R.R.
Martin. I was gonna say now that Tolkien has popped my cherry, maybe there's enough room for thick-chode fantasy boy R.R. Martin to weasel his way inside my vagina metaphor heart.
Wow, you are on a roll tonight.
I'm fired up from the delicious meal you made.
Oh, thank you. You helped. And for the record, I am reading Lord of the Rings now too. So he is watching Game of Thrones while I try reading Lord of the Rings.
There you go.
And I love it, and I hope he'll love it too.
Did you watch Game of Thrones like immediately when it came out?
So I had a weird relationship with it. I had started watching it when it first came out. And I got maybe like 5 episodes in, and like we've discussed this, but part of the beginning is like you really cannot look away. You have to focus. And I have like serious ADD sometimes. So like I started losing what was going on and didn't care enough to go back. And I kind of stopped around like episode 6 of the first season. So then I picked it back up again when like the whole Red Wedding thing happened. Because everyone was talking about it, and I still, like, I made it maybe to, like, the middle of season 2, the beginning of season 2, and, like, still couldn't get into it.
Now, as somebody who has not watched this, I can only assume the Red Wedding was an autumnal wedding named for the bright red foliage known to the places, right? Does that sound right?
That's absolutely nailed it.
Yes! Okay.
So yeah, so then I kind of like stopped caring, and I just, because I knew enough of the characters, I had people I knew like talk me through what was going on in the show. So like I was like, I don't have to watch it, but I can know what's going on. And then I was talking to my friend Catherine, and she was just talking to me about like season 8 was about to come out, and she was just like, oh, you should try it for this reason, and like, you know, I really like this about it. And I was like, let me see if I could get through it again. And for some reason, the third time clicked. And I was just like on a roll. Watched the whole series in a month and caught up by like season 8, like episode 3. So I got to watch most of the last season like live with everyone else.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I've had a very odd relationship with this show.
See, that actually sounds very symmetrical to my experience with the show Lost, in that all my friends were into it. I would watch it with them from time to time. Be like, this fucking hey, is the smoke guy in the cave yet? Is the smoke guy not paralyzed in the cave? And then I got the bad flu, and I asked my buddy Joey to borrow the DVDs, and basically watched 3 seasons and caught up.
Nice.
And also, like Game of Thrones, very not popular last season. So
yeah, and I think like part of it was like I wanted to be included in this again because like it was really exciting, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm like really into this. But like I said, like I think I'll be able to get you through it because like I said, if there's things that you're missing or there are things that you just want clarification on, I can offer you those, and you don't have to like try to just like rewind and watch everything.
Right, and that definitely helps, especially since right now there are so many characters being thrown at
it's
me.
a lot.
The one character, Daenerys Targaryen.
Close.
Targaryen.
She's on our desk actually. She commits
desk.
suicide every day because she.
Did you just give something away?
No.
You're talking about her Funko.
No. That was a literal.
I've had like a bad anxiety day, listener. So like I get confused.
Generic listener.
I get some like confusion and brain fog, and the name Daenerys Targaryen has been like it feels like there is a literal baseball-sized tumor in my brain that the memories are just bouncing off of and not getting through, because like for an entire hour I'm like, Dagny Turpentine. No, one of the things that confuses me, even though I have disavowed the book and all of it, my brief flirtation with Ayn Rand in my early 20s, the protagonist of Atlas Shrugged's name is Dagny Taggart. So imagine if you already have Dagny Taggart locked into your brain somewhere. Hold on, the police are coming by.
They're coming for us.
We live in a bad... He's pronouncing it wrong, dude! Yeah, we live in a bad neighborhood.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. I mean, it's not good.
It's fine.
Bunch of
it's good. It's good.
I'm Polish.
It's not
allowed to call them Polacks.
It's good. It's not great. It's good.
We're moving somewhere.
It's fine.
Eventually.
Hopefully.
But point is, if you have the name Dagny Taggart locked in your skull as like a blonde female heroine, try squeezing in Daenerys Targaryen next to Dagny Taggart and not get your balls crisscrossed. That's an expression, right?
Yeah.
Don't go getting don't go getting your balls in a cross.
On a roll tonight.
Well, I'm Catholic, so my balls are in a cross because, we follow the one true religion.
Oh my.
So, let's go through some of these characters in the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
From here on, we're going to try to do it every episode. Just do like 10 to 15 minutes. But, so, we have the Starks. Mm-hmm. And it's already confusing because the Starks are royalty, kind of, but not kings, really.
Right. Like, they run the North. And, like I said, it's kind of like they're the, like, Ned is the governor and the king is the president.
Okay. So Ned is the governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
And what's the other guy's name? Robert? Robert is the president.
They have, like, some autonomy.
Right.
Okay. So he's like noble. He's of noble descent, right. I would say.
And
that descent.
So the Starks have 5 children, and they all have wolves.
They all have wolves.
Dire wolves.
And they have 6 because of Jon Snow.
Right, which you and I had that confused because you.
I forgot about Rickon. It's easy to forget about Rickon.
I'm telling you right now, the only way I'm going to remember Rickon because it's happened is I keep thinking Raytheon, who was one of the guys from CKY, the one with the long hair who hated mustard.
It's fine.
So Rickon hates mustard and is fighting for Winterfell.
He is not important. You'll forget him anyway, even when he's in it.
Forgot him when we needed.
So yeah, I forgot Rickon.
So there are 5 Stark children. There is Rickon, who the less said about the better. There is also Robb.
Yes, Robb.
Is he named after Robert because they're such good friends, King Robert?
If he is, I don't believe it's addressed. At least on the TV show, can't speak for the book.
Okay.
There's other details in the book, which.
Okay, so we have Rickon the mustard hater, Robert the possibly named after the king.
It's just Rob. It's not Robert.
Just Rob. Sansa, who is the pretty redhead that the future king wants to fuck.
Yeah.
And we have Arya, who is the youngest one, right?
No. Rickon is the youngest one. Then Bran. Then Arya.
Okay. And Bran sees the Lannister siblings fucking, and he gets pushed out a window.
Yeah. Oh, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen Game of Thrones. This whole thing is going to be a spoiler alert.
Yeah, if you're, guess what? Spoiler alert. Also, another alert. You're dumb. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You had to.
You don't want
here.
people coming at you.
If this is being spoiled for you right now, and you are not like on the opposite side of the wall of the bedroom we're sitting in. Sorry, you're dumb if you got this far. Yep. So, Bran sees the Lannisters fucking. The Lannisters are Cersei, who is the queen. She is married to Rob.
Robert, yep.
Robert. And her brother is Jaime.
Yes.
And Jaime and Cersei are fucking...
Yep.
Fucking.
And they're twins.
Gross.
And then there's Tyrion.
Have you ever seen twincest porn?
No, why are you talking to your fiance in public about this?
We were watching because we were just watching incest porn, only there was a plot behind it.
All right.
Oh, twincest is only okay if it has a plot. Grow up. It's 2021. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay.
Oh my god.
I will let you take the lead for a second.
Me take the lead?
You take the lead.
Okay, well then there's Tyrion.
Tyrion, yes. Tyrion is the other Lannister. He is a little feller.
Yeah, he is, they call the Imp.
The Imp, okay.
There's Theon, who you're kind of still learning who he is.
Right.
And I told you that they took him pretty much. They took him away.
As you know what? That actually reminded me of something. I was listening to a podcast with Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
And he says that his dream project he would want to make is a biopic about Ivan the Terrible. And
interesting.
First off, it'll never happen because he had this interview back in a time where, like, surely they will let me play a Turkish man, like me, blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah. But it reminded me of the story of Ivan the Terrible because Ivan the Terrible was one of those things where, like, warlords came into their kingdom. And his father, the king, surrendered. But part of the surrender is I am taking your son.
That's what happened.
Yeah, as collateral to hold you this whole time. And then it became a thing where, like, Ivan escaped, but then his brother was thoroughly Ottomanized, and then they had to face off down the line. So that's what it read to me a little bit as. Like, Theon was kind of like, I won. You're like, yeah, let me take your kid.
Well, and I'm sure, like, a lot of this was inspired by old royalty, you know, and old world rules.
Right. Who the fuck else am I forgetting?
I don't know. We've met the Hounds, but you haven't really met him yet. But
oh yeah. So, the important scene I feel like in the last two episodes there were two very important scenes. The first one being Bram sees them fucking and gets pushed out a window and is comatose. Mm-hmm. And the other truly important scene that we just watched was with the butcher's son.
Right.
So Arya and the butcher's son are playing with sticks, sword fighting, as Prince Joffrey and Sansa. He seems like a nice boy.
Oh my god.
I was a misunderstood blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy once.
Where you're going to hate Joffrey.
I think he's misunderstood.
All right. Sure.
He just needs to... Once he goes through his emo phase and gets humbled a little bit...
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He would look good with pink eyeliner and, like, the Justin Bieber swoop.
Yeah, he would.
Joffrey Bieber. But, basically, yeah, he gets involved, and Arya attacks him, and he cuts the butcher kid's face, and the butcher kid gets killed. And the episode ends with them killing a dog and Bran waking up.
Yeah, that's horrible. But I hate when they kill Lady.
Not the guilty dog.
No. I didn't know if that was like in place of this dog or they were like, well, these dogs are dangerous. Let's kill them all.
Right. It's one of those kind of like they've had in lots of wars where like if one of the POWs does anything, like we don't care which one we kill.
Yeah. But that was terrible. I mean, gives you an idea of how terrible Cersei is.
Right, because she's like, my son got bit.
Oh my god,
I want that dog killed.
And I don't even think she like thinks he's a good kid. Like, I don't think she necessarily believes him. I think she wills herself to believe him.
Yeah, there's I've heard so many stories before of people. I feel like a lot of boys in particular have had the experience of like getting in a fight on the playground and then the kid's mother coming screaming like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, well, he hit me first." Like, I don't care if he did it first.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's why your kid's an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So, am I missing? It seems like there's 3 million characters, but I can't.
Well,
think of
there's
what I'm
Ned
missing
and
so far.
Catelyn, who are the Stark parents. Ned and
Oh,
Catelyn.
Ned. I think you said Net.
Oh no, Ned.
Yes.
She's
played by Sean Bett.
There's Jon Snow.
There's Jon Snow, who was the bastard.
Yep.
I had to figure this out.
Going off with his uncle to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be all.
Well, no. We didn't get Khaleesi.
Oh, Daenerys and
Yes.
Varys.
We talked about how impossible it was for me to pronounce her name and not any of her characters.
And Jorah, who is my personal favorite. I love Jorah.
Who's Jorah?
He's the one who is helping Khaleesi. Like the blonde guy with the beard.
Okay. So
From
there's
her.
one, I mentioned before, what's the name? I want to say Dworkin, but I know that's not it.
That's Lord of the Rings.
What's the savage? Well, no, Dworkin is a famous feminist from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah.
The one who thought all sex was rape.
What were you going to say?
What's the tribe? The darker skinned tribe?
Oh, the Dothraki and
The
Khal
Dothraki.
Drogo.
Okay, so Dothraki and Jason Momoa, because I'm not going to not see Jason Momoa.
Right.
I find hilarious between the first episode, which was obviously the pilot, and the second episode. The first episode, these are very clearly like olive-skinned men and women, like Persian, Italian, perhaps Moroccan, even. And then by the time you get to the second episode, it's a bunch of white people with brown hair.
When I told you, like, a big flaw about this is, like, once you get into the islands, and you'll see, and, there are people of color, but for a lot of it, like, that's all, the people of color you see for a while.
Okay, well, I get that from, like, just a television production thing. They tend to throw the entire budget at the first episode because that's what gets it on there. And then after that, it's like, okay, we got to stretch this out. We're not flying any fucking Italians into Iceland. So, you know, there's Bjork. Give her a brown wig.
Wait, but like a lot of these people were... Oh, you're saying extras.
Extras.
Got it.
Yes, obviously they didn't recast Jason Momoa as a white guy.
Right.
But yeah, I just noticed that they were more ethnic in
but
the first episode.
once you get to the Spice Islands, there are people of color.
Are you saying minorities are spicy?
Yeah. Why do you do this?
It's because it's fun. That's all right. So, what's her name?
Daenerys.
So, Daenerys has been married to
Drogo.
Mm-hmm. Is she the only Yeager we met yet?
Targaryen? No,
Targaryen.
Varys is her brother. The guy who's like grooming her.
Right. Okay.
That's her brother.
The creepy one.
He's the king. Like he thinks like he's the rightful king.
He is kind of the king in exile. Robert overthrew the Targaryen.
Yeah.
Woo! I good boy. I get cake now.
Yes.
Robert overthrew the Targaryens, so that family is now the brother is like the king in exile. She is like the princess in exile.
Yeah.
So they are trying to court alliances around the kingdoms because, you know, he was just like, well, he's not the rightful king, he was overthrown. Like, well, they're married into this other thing, so then everybody has a vested interest in taking that throne back.
Yeah, they're trying to build an army.
Okay. And she learns how to make love.
Yes, she does.
Because she doesn't have much of a say in it at first.
It starts to empower her, though. I'll say that much.
Okay.
It starts to give her She starts to be able to become Khaleesi after this.
Okay. Because you even see, like, that last scene we saw with them, we saw him having sex with her earlier, and she's just, doggy style, bent over, like he's fucking a particularly sexy sack of potatoes. But after a chambermaid teaches her the ways of love, she, he comes in and tries to do that again, like he's, like, unpacking his fleshlight almost. But she, I want to look at you tonight.
Yep.
That's what she said.
Yep.
And the way you look tonight.
And then he starts to respect her more.
There you go.
So she'll start to have a little bit more of a role in leading the Dothraki.
I've always said that cowgirl leads to respect. So.
I told you that every time I hear Dothraki now, I think of Dwight trying to teach Aaron Dothraki in The Office.
When I first saw him in The Office, this is how far behind, I am decades behind in my nerddom. I just assumed it was Klingon.
He says it's Dothraki.
I don't pay attention to things.
Those are two very different things.
They're both vaguely brown, and,
Just...
Klingons are brown.
What?
Aren't they?
No.
Worf's a darker skinned guy.
He's not a Klingon.
Worf is a Klingon.
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Yeah. I was picturing someone else. I know, and I'm watching The Next Generation right now,
So I guess
too.
you just think these races look alike?
I'm just...
Sorry, I'll stop doing that. It's just so fun to catch people in the
No, that's particularly bad. Mainly because I watch Star Trek.
Yeah, you're a big fan of all these things.
I'm just high.
Oh, well, there's that. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Can I say that? Is that okay?
I mean, listen, every but now and again, one of us needs a toot of crystal meth, and it's okay. It's like, it's gotta be legal somewhere. Besides, you like crystals, you're into witchy shit, and crystal meth comes right along with that.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
You should see how thoroughly she cleans the house after. She just gets on a fucking kick. I think we're caught up.
Yeah.
Episodes 1 and 2.
Catelyn left.
Who?
Catelyn Stark.
Catelyn Stark, the Mama Stark. Mama Stark.
She left to ride off.
So, yeah, she was watching over Bran, and suddenly there was a fire out in the village, which turns out was a diversion, because then an assassin came in trying to kill Bran, and Mama Stark...
It's Bran. And I only say that because there's going to be another character eventually named Braum.
Okay, you need to tell me, you need to remind me. So, the name I'm going to say right now, Dracula or Raisin? Is it Bran, as in Raisin Bran? Bran.
It's short for Brandon.
That's dumb. Okay.
So that's what it is. It's Bran.
So anyway, an assassin comes to kill Raisin, and the mom's all ready, and she fights him off and says, "Not my Raisin. He's part of a balanced breakfast." And his direwolf that she was just complaining about comes in and kills the assassin.
Yeah.
And in the very end of the episode, when the direwolf lady, Sansa's wolf, is being unjustly executed.
Well, and she figures out that Bran was probably pushed, which is why she's riding out.
Yes, that's it. She puts together, like, if it was just an accident, Bran caught them fucking because he has a habit of climbing along the castle walls. And he's climbing along the wall. He looks in like, hey, you're brother and sister. That shouldn't be happening. And the brother takes a break from fucking and pushes him out the window. The real question, do you think they went back to fucking after that?
No. Cersei? No way.
But he didn't finish.
Oh, God.
He got distracted. Can't leave a man.
Why?
And, alright, so from there, but they're playing it off like an accident. But then if it's an accident, why would an assassin ever come in? So Mama Stark comes the term, like, they must be trying to kill Bran. After walking around and noticing that he fell from directly the window they were staying in.
Mm-hmm. And she finds a long blonde hair.
So
she knows Cersei's probably involved. So she rides off. Bran wakes up, and that's where we leave the episode.
Yes. So that's where we leave it. Bran is awake. She is riding off. Ned and the Lannisters are in... Where are they? They went somewhere.
Well, Ned, Arya, and Sansa are in King's Landing.
Okay. So that's like their actual place.
Home, yeah.
That's their home. Okay. With Winterfell being the place of
the Starks.
The Starks. Okay. I think we're caught up. I hope you have all enjoyed an anxious guy not thinking clearly, vaguely gesturing like, that's right?
Yeah, we will maybe get into more of a rhythm with this.
I still don't know. I don't dislike it. And that was the thing when I watched the shows initially.
I meant this.
What?
Like the podcast.
Oh, well, yeah. This is the first time we're doing this.
Yeah.
But also, like, as far as the show itself, I don't dislike it. But even when I saw it, it just felt very unremarkable to me.
I think eventually you will come to care about the characters and their storylines, and I think you'll enjoy being in the world.
Yeah.
I do.
Because that's the big thing I like about Lord of the Rings. I liked the entire mythology and lore.
I think you just need to get to a point, because it starts out with so much intensity going on already before you even care about the characters, and that's part of the issue with the show is I think you need to start to care about the characters, because you're like...
Yeah. Right now I'm trying to be like, like, oh man, they killed Daenerys? Or what's that? Like, I can't, yeah.
Well, and figure if they're starting this with this high stakes, it's going to get way worse.
Yeah. Again, I also know that the South Park parody making fun of it, where they just repeatedly say, like, oh man, he can't die. We all really, really liked him. So I assume everybody I'm even vaguely interested in right now is going to die. Just like real life. So, we'll be back later. Bye. Okay, Game of Thrones Season 1, Part 2, Episodes 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're back. I am back with Madame Perri de Lerner de Dram, soon to be Dram. How you doing, baby?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. I need to turn everything up a little bit on here. Let me put that closer to you. Talk. Oh.
Hi. Do I sound better?
The little blue blippy thing is blipping and blooping, so...
What does that mean?
It just means that it's making an impression and it's getting through. I'm also saying that it's picking up a lot of my frequencies as well, but doesn't matter. That's good.
Should I be this close to the microphone?
Here, you know what? Just move the pop filter and move it a little closer.
Is this better?
Sure.
Okay.
Fine. All right, so we watched episode 3 and 4.
Is that all going to be in there?
No, I'll cut that out.
Okay.
So we just watched episode 3 and 4. Well, actually, we watched episode 3 the other day, and we just watched episode 4, and I realized I remembered nothing from episode 3.
Right.
So we got the final previously on Game of Thrones, and let's see, what do we have here? Daenerys' brother got punked in... Don't you remember? He was like, you don't talk to me that way. And then he came and like whipped him. And
I didn't know what you meant by the punked
he got
comparison.
Fucked up. He said, like, I'll have that Dothraki's head. And
I thought you meant punked like Ashton Kutcher punked.
Yes.
I got a little confused.
It seems there is a parking ticket upon my horse. Daenerys, what do you know about this?
Yeah.
Khaleesi, Daenerys is preggers.
Mm-hmm.
Got some Dothraki babies. She learned how to fuck Jal Hawken. What's his name? The king?
Khal Drogo.
She learned to fuck Jason Momoa good, and he got her knocked up. We see that Jon Snow has sword privilege, because he's doing sword fighting with the other guys. Like, you guys suck. And then the other guy is like, yeah, well, I bet they haven't had the best masters teaching them since they were children. And it seems like they're kind of friends, but then they're dickheads to each other this episode. Arya is taking sword lessons. Ned's wife tells of the blade that was used to attempt to assassinate Bram. Oh my god, this feels like fucking homework. This really does feel like I still don't like this show yet. I don't hate it, but it's a lot.
It'll once you don't have to learn who everyone is, it's much more enjoyable.
They're throwing a bunch of people. Well, anyway, so they find the blade. Littlefinger says that the blade was his, but it had been won by Tyrion Lannister, meaning they think Tyrion She already thought it was the Lannisters that were trying to kill Bran, but now we have confirmation that it was Tyrion's blade. This episode opens with Bran seeing a three-eyed raven. What can you tell me about that?
Pretty much nothing except that it's going to be important.
Okay.
But I can't really tell you anything else.
Is it from the nearby nuclear power plant?
Yes.
Like that episode of The Simpsons?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened.
Mr. Burns is going to come down and deal with it. See, this is the problem with shows like this, is I'm trying to take notes as I go, and you get some things in here that I know now are... Tyrion devises a saddle for Bran.
Yeah, and it ends up meaning...
You're telling me that's not going to... that saddle isn't going to determine who ends up on the Iron Throne, is what you're telling me.
I mean, I won't say anything. Won't give anything away.
We meet Hodor. You told me... What is it?
Hodor, yeah.
Hodor.
No, you were right.
You told me he's a big deal.
Yeah.
What's so cool about him?
Well, I can't tell you. See, this is the problem. And, like, I'm sure the people who... I'm sure all y'all out there who have watched it, they, like... I'm sure they understand how hard it is to not tell you things. Mm-hmm. Like, because things are important, but you... I mean, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You know what it reminds me of? Back when Lost was on the air, one of the ways I loved fucking with friends and acquaintances was to spoil Lost for them. But in a very specific way. I would make up shit that was, like, very extravagant and insane. And then I'd slip in what actually happened.
Yeah.
So like, oh, yeah, you know, Jack found a hot air balloon. And then, you know, Locke meets President Clinton somewhere on there. And, and I think the smoke monster's like part of the security system or something. I can't remember a better example, but yeah, that.
Like, I'll give you stuff here or there, but if it's, like, really, like, key plot point stuff, like, I'm not going to tell you.
I did make the note that Hodor carries around Bran like a dragon carries around Martin Short on Arrested Development. Swoop man! I want to go back and watch that episode now.
That's a good one.
That is such a good one. I have a lot of notes on the fat guy.
Sam.
It just said, sword boys wail on a fat guy. Fat guy is a Tarly. Sword guys are dumb. It's like an after-school club for troubled kids. I don't know. The one of them just looks like he has, like, that wispy teenager, like, you know, pot dealer mustache.
Oh, my God.
It's like, yeah, that's... The guys who are, like, guarding the wall... What's the name of the castle?
Castle Rock.
The ones that are...
Wait, no, that's Stephen King. Castle Black.
Castle Black. The ones that are guarding Castle Black are definitely like the vocational school kids, like the troubled kids and everything to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, people go there because they're punished.
See, it's funny you mentioned Castle Rock because one of the notes I have here, and I'm sure other people mention it, why do all fantasy characters have to have British accents? Because I think like Lords of the Ring is the same thing, and then as soon as you said Castle Rock, I just imagined Maine, like, gotta go fight the mountain now.
Well, I mean,
mountain will crush your damn skull. You don't pay attention.
I'm pretty sure most of the actors in this are British.
I would say the notion. I watched Beastmaster today, and everybody.
I know, but like, I mean, it also a lot of people in Lord of the Rings are British.
Right, but I'm saying even more so than that. Even when it is not a British production, it is still like a fucking Gladiator. Gladiator takes place in Rome. Everybody has a British accent. Granted, that's not fantasy, but it's like if it.
Well, we're talking about fantasy.
If it took place longer than 100 years ago, everyone there was.
But
British.
I think the fact that you're saying it's fantasy is relevant because look where they tend to film those things.
They don't have British accents in New Zealand.
But or like Iceland.
But
like
it's more than that. It's a conscious choice. I don't think it's just the actors. I know they made the excuse that it was just the actors in that Chernobyl dog shit, which, again, I still can't
get over it.
Running around Chernobyl, Russia, Soviet Union in the 1980s.
Get over it.
Comrade, blimey, comrade, the radiator's going down on the frizzle fritz.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God. Just once, like, can't they? I would just love, like, Lord of the Rings if they all just had, like, Canadian accents or, like, deep southern, like, you know. Lord Sauron gonna ruin the party, eh? Gotta take that there ring.
Oh my God.
Drop
Move
it in
on.
Watford.
Move on.
Dothrakis are scared of water. Again, I take these notes. You don't know what's important. It's gonna pay off somewhere.
Yep.
Everybody is horny over the possible existence and extinction of dragons.
Mainly just the handmaiden.
Okay.
Mainly just the one who's fucking Viserys.
That's the thing. Like, she's fucking what's his name? Viserys Targaryen. She's fucking him, and he's like naming dragon facts.
Yeah.
Foreplay. Acting out the dreams of every like 9-year-old boy that like the scales are pretty wide and there's a spiky thing on the tail. And he's like, oh yeah.
And then he gets abusive.
Getting wet. He does get abusive.
He's a fuck.
He is a fuck. He attacks Daenerys and pretty much like, you don't... Because the thing is, he is the king in exile as far as he's concerned. But the thing is, he is a theoretical king, whereas Daenerys is an actual Khaleesi. She is royalty now. Mm-hmm. She got a prince or a princess in her belly.
Yeah.
I assume the Dothrakis just throw princesses into a well somewhere. They seem like that kind of people. Mm-hmm. They throw it in the river because they're afraid of water, as I made sure to know. Sansa learns about the Iron Throne, and the Mad King killed her uncle and grandfather. I noted that this whole episode, Ned Stark is like setting up these games, which honestly, it feels like he's being punished with a middle management position.
He's being set up with these games. What do you mean?
Don't you remember? He's like talking like we have to set up these games, but we don't really have the budget for it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It kind of feels like... It almost feels like an episode of The Office, like the party planning committee doesn't have a big budget. And how are we going to get the jousters?
And then he doesn't even go.
I think I need to have you start writing a little bit of notes.
Okay.
So do you have anything big to interject before I keep going?
I don't think so. I mean, you found out... Wait, so I shouldn't... You mean based on what you've already talked about?
Based on these episodes.
Not really, except like you met Lord Baelish, who is obviously going to end up being an important character.
I said that I know that guy lives a while because I remember my friends watching later seasons and seeing him.
I do need to start taking notes because I feel like something happened where I want to be like, oh, you even know what this character is, but like I forget.
It just feels like they're throwing somebody new at me. Like we meet Sam in this episode.
Yes.
And, like, here are my notes. Sam is fat, can't fight, can't see, afraid of heights.
Mm-hmm.
His dad is a lord. The dad basically said, you suck, took his title, sent him to Castle Black. I have in these notes, I predict that Sam saves the day and impresses his dad and becomes prom king, and Sally saves the last dance for him, and then he knocks out the high school quarterback with one punch.
No, so sweet.
He has a tiny little mouth. The people at Castle Rock... I'm just going to Castle Rock. People at Castle Rock have funny faces, you see. Yeah, because like Sam has a big head, but like a tiny... me and Perri have a pet rabbit that you were seeing a caricature of if you look down at the logo of this podcast right now. His name is Iggy. But we always say that Iggy has a cute little tiny butthole mouth. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Sam has an adorable little butthole mouth. He just has a big round face and just a little puckered like, ooh,
yeah,
right in the middle. My daddy's upset with me, my little butthole mouth.
Oh my god.
But crikey. Anyway, Stark and Littlefinger walk through the Betrayal Garden, which I only know from South Park because they made fun of that. Ned is tracking down the last actions of the previous right hand of the king, and he finds the bastard son, who was a blacksmith of King Robert.
Gendry. Oh, that. And he saw that he was looking up the book about like all the details of all the families.
Right, like there's like a detailed lineage book.
And John Aaron was looking for that. So he's trying to figure out why he's tracking down his bastards.
But back to the face proportions. The guy who's like the superior at Castle Rock.
Oh my god, I
who's
hate
giving
him.
Instruction. He has like a big giant head, but his face is like his eyes start. It's like despite having a big face, his actual facial features only take up 3/4 of the space. Like his eyebrows start 6 inches down on his head.
I remember who it's at the end of the episode, so I'll wait till we get there. But I remember who I was thinking, like, oh shit, you don't even know.
Oh, okay.
It like popped in my head, but we'll wait till it's at the end of the episode.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get through your list.
Jon Snow tells the guys to be nice to Sam. One of them says, I'm going to slice that fat boy like bacon. They later give that guy, like, the equivalent of a blanket party, only with a wolf. I had flashbacks of Full Metal Jacket,
oh my God.
but with a wolf. And the opposite, they're telling them to be nice to the fat kid for a change. So it's the exact opposite of Full Metal Jacket. Targaryen family feud. We already talked about that. We did leave out the awesome line. The next time you raise a hand to me is the last time you'll have hands.
Oh, yes. Go Daenerys.
That's nice.
Killing it.
We learn of the Mountain and the Hound.
Yep.
And
classic story.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Mountain and the Hound.
Oh, right. So basically, the Hound is the younger brother of the Mountain, and the Mountain is brutal. And basically, when they were kids, the Hound was playing with one of the Mountain's toys, I guess, and he pretty much took his head and held it into a fire. So
I'm going to assume
he hates
it was a toy car.
Probably, most likely.
A Hess truck.
That sounds about right.
That's how you get a face melted.
So yeah, that's the Mountain and then the Hounds.
Okay. And the episode ends where are they in an inn?
The episode ends when Catelyn meets the Freys.
I still keep referring to her as Mrs. Stark. Catelyn.
But that is...
What is the phrase?
You can't know yet, but everyone who's...
Okay.
Everyone who's seen that is going to know what I mean when I say Catelyn meets with the Freys.
I'm assuming the Freys are Catelyn's former high school softball team.
Yep.
They went to state 3 years in a row, and they have not forgotten Catelyn.
She goes to strike a deal with them.
Okay.
Because she needs power. She needs to get people behind her because she's trying to go against...
She's going against
the
Lannisters.
Family.
Right.
Exactly.
So where is the physical place they're in when Tyrion arrives? Is that an inn or what?
Well, they're in what is the name of that land?
Wasn't it King's Landing?
No, they're not in King's Landing.
Oh, wait, no, they would be further on because they're like catching Tyrion as he's coming back from Castle Rock.
Right.
And by the way,
Castle
it's going to annoy you guys. It's Castle Rock from now on. Just so I have an excuse at any point to drop a fucking New Englander Maine accent. White Walker's coming down the road, now.
Oh, they're in the Twins. That's where they end.
Okay. But they're in there. It is Catelyn, and who is she sitting with in there? She's with somebody.
Was it the guy who went with her?
It was
they
the
sent
guy.
her.
Wait. No. The blonde guy's with the thread.
No, wasn't it the guy that they all sent her to go with so she wasn't traveling alone?
Yes.
I forget his name.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, yeah. It's the guy who has, like, the hair that he, like, ties down like a chin strap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, she's in there. Tyrion comes in. There's a little bit of a standoff. And Catelyn pretty much makes the, that, like... You don't know it, little imp, but you're surrounded. And he's like, I know you. My grandfather built your farm, and I know you. You dated my mom in high school. And long story short, she's just like, I call upon you to grab this imp who attempted to murder my 10-year-old son and take him back to Winterfell to be tried.
Yep.
Guys, that's been part 2. We'll see you next. Do you have anything to add, baby?
No. How you feeling?
This feels like homework. Again, it's not bad. I know I'm learning things. I don't care. I really don't care. We had 2 cool moments this episode. If you raise your hand to me again, will be the last time you have hands. That's a cool line. And the moment at the end where I'm curious how much Tyrion actually knows. He looks a little taken aback and surprised. I don't know. He also doesn't seem to fit in with the other Lannisters as much.
Well, no, because he's an imp. And he's not a twin. But I feel confident that you'll get into it if you're already seeing, like, bits of things that
I like.
that you like, because you already knew about like them like throwing Bran out the window, so that wasn't going to like be like a shock when it happened in the same way it was when you first watched the show.
Yeah, here's the thing though. I definitely saw that. I didn't remember it.
You didn't remember it even as it was happening?
No.
Oh wow.
That is how little of an impression this made on me the first time. So
we're gonna get you through it.
That's right. All right, part 2. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, we're back. Part 3, Season 1, Game of Thrones. Bear.
Episodes 6 and 7?
Wrong. 5 and 6.
Oh, see, you should lead this.
Here's the thing. There's cool moments. I'm not being sucked into this show. I really am not. Like, this one had a very cool ending. The only thought I had is we had a little bit more of progression between Sansa. I keep wanting to say Samsa, which is the character from Metamorphosis.
Oh, yeah. No, that's Samus.
No, it's Gregor Samsa.
Oh, Metamorphosis. I processed that as Metroid.
It's tomato. I mean, come on.
That's what I get for half paying attention to you.
So, yeah, is it Kafka or 1985 Nintendo? So, yeah, Sansa and Joffrey, we had a little bit of, he pretty much swore to marry her and kissed her. And Ned immediately said, like, nah, I'll find you someone good. Don't worry about it. And then we had the people with the noisiest fucking cars are driving by tonight. Yeah, I cannot wait to leave this neighborhood. But, it gave me the thought of, like, okay, if you had to marry and rule a kingdom with whoever you were dating when you were 13, think about that for a second. Who were you dating when you were 13? How would you have ruled your kingdom together?
I was dating my hands.
Oh.
Who was I dating at 13?
I was dating Ashley Welsh, and we would have been a very formidable, though interesting power couple, because Ashley Welsh, I was the last boy she was ever with when she realized, like, oh yeah, I'm obviously a lesbian. But she's gone on to join, the army, where she's been for the last 15 years, and I run a podcast. So I would have definitely been the dainty, bring me my jester, and, put on a show. And she would have been the true ruler of the kingdom.
I guess I was dating James, maybe. But I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of boyfriends, when I was younger.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing I was that into.
Well, it was just my first kiss.
You didn't say my first kiss. You said who would I be dating and ruling with.
It's because who I was dating when I was 13. I had my first kiss when I was 13.
And that's what I was saying.
I was a fat boy. Nobody wanted to kiss me. I'm sorry I couldn't get kissed earlier, Perri.
I feel like
you need to talk into the mic.
Sorry. It's weirdly positioned.
I'm sorry. So, I'm trying to even remember...
okay.
All I remember is the end of episode 5 and then the episode we just watched.
Okay, so episode 5 is when they're having the jousting tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And the mountain kills...
The mountain, actor 1.
The mountain kills John Aaron's squire.
And John Aaron was the hand of the king, who is dead.
He's
kind of in the background pushing this story from beyond the grave, because we find out he was keeping track of the bastards of Robert. We also found out that he just happened to... I didn't like in this episode where, Ned's looking through the book, and he's like, black hair. Black hair? Black hair. And it feels like it goes on for 7 minutes, only to end with Joffrey. Golden hair. If you hadn't already come to that conclusion, there's no reason to read black hair with such surprise so many times, as if he's suddenly like, wait a second, that kid does have golden hair.
I feel like you're missing something. Are you not putting the pieces together of what's going on there?
I think they're realizing that Robert's not his father, but I mean...
Right, but do you know what started him looking?
What started him looking?
Well, okay, so here's the thing, right? He's trying to figure out why John Aaron's trying to find all the bastards.
Uh-huh.
Right? He's seeing that, the one bastard he found look a lot like Robert.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to figure out why John Aaron's trying... I feel do you want to get there yourself, or do you want me to...
I would assume John Aaron, at this point, was looking for who would succeed Robert, because Joffrey is not Robert's.
Right. Exactly. And
But then Ned is acting like it just dawned on him in that moment that, like, wait
Well, he probably wasn't even thinking about it. We kind of know what's going on more than Ned does because we are told in the first episode that Cersei and Jaime are fucking. We know that. Ned doesn't.
You know what's actually confusing, though, is where Sansa's like, we'll bring blonde children. It's like, bitch, you got red hair.
Well, I mean, but usually it ends up blonde when you get a redhead and a blonde.
I mean, I don't know. I guess.
I don't know. But anyway.
So that happens. We had the mountain. Actually, let's follow the mountain plot line because the mountain we have, while Robert the King is out hunting, Ned is sitting on the Iron Throne, which cannot be good for his recent wound because, I mean, that looks like such an uncomfortable fucking throne to sit on.
I feel like we're not doing this organized at all.
Not at all.
We left the first episode 5?
Yes.
We left that with Jaime stabbing
Ned. Ned and killing all of Ned's men.
Yes.
And then we pick up episode 6 with, like, Jaime has run into the woods and...
Jaime went back to Casterly Rock, which is where he's from.
Gotta go back to Castle Rock there. Can't stab a stock and hang out in King's Landing. No, you can't now. Gotta go to Castle Rock. And,
he's running home to Daddy.
Right, who we still haven't met yet, Tywin. But Cersei has already reframed this as like, Ned was drunk leaving a brothel and he attacked my brother.
And Robert's like, I know that's not true. Shut up. And then hits her.
Yeah, which I gotta admit, I was kind of like, yeah. I hate it when movies make me do that. Like,
all I will say is that won't be the last time you say that.
Like, smack that weaker woman. He's gonna get so fucking poisoned. I know.
He's gonna get so fucking poisoned.
Like I said, I haven't watched the show before, but I'm aware of enough of it from pop culture, and I know Mark Addy as an actor, and I know he was not around in any of the publicity towards the final season, so I know his time is short.
Right. Well, and I told you, I think in the beginning it's very hard to get into because you're still learning so much that it's just like overwhelming. And I think once you're more comfortable in the characters and comfortable in the plot, you'll be able to start enjoying it more because it just flows better. Mm-hmm. But the first season, I will say, is very clunky, and that's why it took me so long to get into it.
Okay. 'Cause, as of right now, it's just there are a ton of people, and I need to be reminded who everyone's allegiance is all the time.
You watch that going through, not quite remembering, like you figure it out as you go. You kind of have the added benefit of me like whispering in your ear, so this is this person and this is this person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Most people didn't get to watch it being explained that. So like I'm actually giving you probably more information than you would know just watching it on your own. Mm-hmm. I'm like prepping you for things that are important and,
Okay. Shit, what else happened? I mean...
Well, he battles Sir Loras, the mountain.
the mountain battles Sir Loras, the Flower Prince.
Yes, who is from... We haven't met them yet, but he is of House Tyrell and is from Highgarden. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be major players. And he is with Robert's younger son.
That's okay.
Or younger brother.
Younger brother. Okay.
Younger brother.
I need to keep being reminded who everyone is.
Yes.
I don't know how anybody watched the first season long enough to love this show.
Yeah, it's rough. It is rough to get through. I will say that. But I'm trying to think what else. Bronn starts shooting on horseback. Do you hear the cat?
Yeah, I did. Right. Okay. Yeah. So
starts shooting his arrows on horseback. We're learning.
Right. They have a rig set up for him.
He gets attacked by wildlings. You haven't really met wildlings.
I just assumed they're like unaffiliated.
They live north of the wall, but some of them have come.
Okay.
Are on the other side. But.
Wait, north of the wall with like the White Walkers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's Tyrion that says it in the beginning. I can't remember who. But someone in the beginning says like, "Oh, we all hate on the wildlings pretty much, but like, we're all the same. They just the wall went up and they happen to be on the other side."
Okay.
So these are people that like used to be
East Germans.
yeah, like they used to like be a part of Westeros and
Okay.
yeah, or I don't remember the lore. That's the problem too. There's so much lore, and I'm not like doing my research before I'm going into these podcasts.
Let's stop and do a power ranking real quick. 3 favorite characters right now as we are. Where are you at?
Well, I know what happens, so it's hard not to let that factor in. I would say, who do you like? Not top 3 unless you have them.
I identify the most with Ned Stark because much like him, I'm just kind of tired of all this and it's really dragging. Tyrion, it's hard not to like, even though he's fine. It's just a little too tropey for me, where it's, like, oh, I'm here to confess my crimes, and oh, I remember her little breast bouncing ever since. Like, okay, I get it. And if I have to, I guess Daenerys. Daenerys is the only one that's really had much of an arc so far. Not to mention, we had a great moment ending this last episode 6, with, again, I feel like a fucking blind man could have seen, like, holding a sword to the pregnant stomach of the queen, going like, I just want a crown, and him saying like, I'll give you a crown that all men shall, a golden crown all men will tremble to recall. He's like, see, wasn't that easy? See, I'm so glad we worked this out. And then he got molten gold poured onto his head, killing him, dropping him to the floor with a satisfying clank, if I've ever heard one.
Viserys is the worst, and I will say one of the nice payoffs about this show is everyone who has it coming to them gets it, but sometimes it takes a lot longer to get there than you want it to.
So what you're saying is, he had it coming. He had it coming.
Yep.
He only had himself to blame.
I mean, if you'd have been there.
If you'd have seen it,
I bet you
would have done the same.
Anyway.
We don't pay for any copyrights on here. Go watch Chicago. Fuck, I don't know. Is there anything else?
Well, okay, I guess at this point, my 3 favorite characters probably would have been Dany, Tyrion. Maybe Tyrion wouldn't have been my favorite at this point. Ned and Arya.
Okay. Yeah, Arya has her thing go. Again, that's another one where it's like, it's a little tropey, where it's like the tomboy's learning to sword fight. Whoa.
I think you're gonna grow to like Arya.
I think I will, because I've seen, again, bits and pieces. I know she pops up. I think she goes blind at one point. Like, random bits get through to me.
Yeah.
And remember you accidentally spoiled Somebody's Going to Live.
Oh.
Even though you also spoiled in a way by saying, like, yeah, he lives, but we never really see much. He just stops being important.
Well, no, I just said he wasn't in season 5, but, like, I kind of thought, like, because you know enough, I thought you knew, like, Bronn, like, made it at least part of the way.
Yeah.
So, not Bronn, Bran.
Also,
Bronn's pretty awesome, too.
So, because you haven't mentioned there in your top 3, you mentioned Dany. Which one's Dany again?
Daenerys.
Oh, I really thought you said Dany. Daenerys, I like.
I did say Dany. Sorry, that's what she's Dany.
Okay.
Yeah.
My sister's name.
I know.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about this other than it's setting something up, and it better be fucking amazing.
Well, okay, I'm gonna leave people with this. So Robert just went on his hunting trip, so a lot is gonna start to kick into gear come next episode.
Oh yeah, so while Ned was sitting on the throne, while the king was off hunting, people came from a village saying that basically the mountain and friends raped and killed everyone, and Ned,
it was Catelyn's village.
It was Catelyn's village. So Ned basically stripped him of all his titles and sentenced him to death, and somebody said like, what do I want to do with that? The king's a fan on the mountain. He says, I don't care.
Yeah, and I've been reminding you of, like, who's loyal to who right now. And, like, that the mountain works he doesn't work for Robert. Like, he works for Robert because he works for the Lannisters, but he's not a Baratheon boy.
Right.
So, and the Lannisters, they have a lot of money, so they have a lot of allies, whereas Robert came up into this.
As rich as a Lannister.
As rich as a Lannister, and a Lannister always pays his debts.
Right.
We'll see that come up often.
Okay, good.
The Lannisters have a lot of sayings.
I do recall that. That did come up. Anyway, my big saying, let's stop recording and go eat some hummus. That's on my family crest.
I'm in.
All right. That's part 3, season. Well, I don't need to do this. Nothing will change for you guys. This will just stop. For us, days will pass, and for you, it will be a quick flip.
Can I sit back or?
You should pull your chair forward a little bit. Hi, guys. My name is Jesse Dram, and we're wrapping up Game of Thrones Season 1 with my fiance, Perri Lerner.
Yes, we are. You pulled me away from my dance-a-thon for this.
More so than any other person I've met, Perri actually expresses herself through dancing. And while I consider it alien and almost certainly sinful, I mean, it is beautiful to watch because you're expressing yourself. And that's not what I'm doing when I'm dancing. I'm just trying to I'm not feeling anything while I'm dancing.
I never really thought of it like that until you pointed that out to me.
Wow. I'm good at making people self-conscious. So, what we've been doing is we've been recording after every 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, and this one I just never got around to it, so we're recapping the last 4 episodes now.
Yeah. Lots happened since we last did this, huh?
Some stuff happened. I mean, I don't remember anything big. It's been a couple of days.
Just a few things.
All right, so what do we got?
Well, let's see. We meet Tywin Lannister.
Yes, I remember him as the bad guy from Last Action Hero. He had a glass eye with a smiley face in it.
I could see that. I've never seen that.
There's a few bad guys in that movie. It really didn't do well. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I have nothing more to add.
I don't either.
Tywin, father of the Lannisters.
Tywin, father of the Lannisters, who Jaime ran to when his men were attacked by Ned's men, I believe.
Something like that. Oh, good. A fucking airplane is buzzing the house while we just started recording. These things happen. Living in the city.
Yep, sounds about right. Also, we're still at the part where Ned just confronted Cersei about her relationship with Jaime and who the father of her children are, that he knows.
That's right. We see him looking through the book of genealogy, which in olden alternate times was just black hair. And I love the shot they do of that, where it's it's so obvious, but it's Blathorn, black hair, black hair. Black hair? It's I think we got it on the first one. That's right, Joffrey does have blonde hair.
You definitely brought this up last time. So
I don't
this is going to be
remember
twice.
what.
But clearly
It's the point so nice I made it twice.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines in this show is when Ned says, your brother or your lover. And it's just so fantastic. I don't know why. It just tickles me.
And I like how she gives him such a white lady face of you wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
okay?
We're twins. We were in the womb together.
You don't. We use the word the womb as we refer to that as the universe. Because guess what? This is your womb, baby. This is our womb, baby. You just live in it.
Twincest is legit.
Exact. Twincest.
Also, the pivotal quote in that scene is, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. There is no middle ground.
That's right, because he was offered the throne and he said,
Yeah, he was good. He gave it to Robert. But yeah, as we will see, that will come to pass. Because Ned's not with us by the end of this recap.
And again, I knew this going in just because it's been such a thing in pop culture of how Sean Bean is not allowed to live. And I'm okay with that because the only movie I've seen where he does live was Silent Hill, a butchering of my favorite video game ever. So, yeah. Sean Bean, keep on dying.
And I'm going from watching him as Honorable Ned to the horrible Boromir in Lord of the Rings.
He's not, he has horrible points, but he's not that bad.
Compared to Ned, he's gonna turn on Frodo.
True.
He's about to turn on Frodo. I know what happened.
He thought he could wield the ring. He was going to weld a new ring. He thought he could wield the ring and use it against Sauron.
Yes, but once he was we're not getting into this because we're about to go on.
How do you know if you didn't even give him the chance?
Once he saw himself turning evil, all I'm saying is he should have told Aragorn, okay, we're done this conversation. If he was that good of a person, that would have been what he did. Okay, we're done.
Boromir over Aragorn any day of the week.
What?
Woo!
You shut your face.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Also, we find out more about Littlefinger's history with Catelyn, and Catelyn was with Ned's brother before Ned. So that was interesting.
That happens. Isn't that what happened with, like, Biden's sons? Like, Beau Biden died, and Dippy Hunter Biden stepped up and married his, like, wife.
I think they're divorced now.
That's kind of hot. There's something weird.
Ew!
No, it's, I've heard it in comedy a lot where I love the notion of, like, pioneer wives. Like, your brother dies on the Oregon Trail, so you just take your, well, you are my family now.
So if you die, I can marry one of your brothers.
Oh, I hope it's Luke.
I hope it's Luke, too.
Oh, sorry, Ken.
Kenny, we love you.
You know what's sad? He loves Game of Thrones, so if the's any podcast he ever listens to,
Kenny, we love you.
We take it back. Everybody wants Kenny's dick.
I think Luke is just he's so nice.
Right. He's so nice, and unlike Kenny, he hasn't pissed on me in the last 5 years. It's okay. He was sleepwalking. He couldn't tell. Kenny, I didn't mean for any of this to become public. That's okay. We have different last names. They won't know.
There you go. So yeah, also Uncle Benjen at the wall, his horse rides back without him.
That's right.
So we're moving over to the wall right now.
Oh yeah, and we noticed that, well, never mind, we'll get there.
What were you going to say? Because I was about to move on to King's Landing again.
I was going to talk about when he brings the corpses back, and good old roly-poly Sam notes, like, if they've been dead for weeks, why is there no rot?
Yeah, that's right. I do think I guess that's later. A different episode.
Well, it definitely comes up.
It's a different episode, though, yeah.
Unfortunately, 4 episodes, it all kind of melts
together.
We're
trying to, go in order
She is
here.
going to recap, and I'm going to make a dumb comment.
You're going to make comments,
yeah. Of this podcast.
We finally found our stride after the first 3 itchy ones. All right, so we're back in King's Landing. Robert is attacked by a boar.
As happens. That's how most kingships end.
Yeah, he says a pig took him out. What's happening here?
Don't worry. They'll know when it happens.
All right, so him and Ned start writing his will together, and he says, leave it to my son Joffrey, and Ned puts to his rightful heir because he knows that Joffrey's little parentage is going to come out. That's something else we didn't bring up when we were talking about Cersei and Ned, was the fact that that's what sealed his fate, was that he was trying to be merciful towards Cersei, afraid that Robert would kill the kids.
He didn't want to get his hands dirty. Didn't want to kill Daenerys and her baby. Didn't want to see Joffrey and his, abominations against nature to be killed. But, yeah. Game of Thrones, there's no middle ground, and mercy is a middle ground.
Yeah. So Ned changed it to rightful heir. And
the other thing was he was supposed to stand as regent until the time that rightful heir came of age.
Well, and the other sketchy thing was Lancel. Lancel Lannister was the one to be giving Robert the wine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's right, where Cersei has now downgraded from fucking her brother to fucking her cousin.
Right, and yeah.
They're just narcissists. It's gotta look like them.
Yeah, Cersei's really weird.
Yeah, that kind of throws out the whole, well, it's just a twin thing you wouldn't get. Nah, I had Mama's soup.
And he's 12. He's so young.
He has a scrawny little twink body that all of my romantic rivals in high school had.
Oh God.
That's what they all like. Those little skinny.
Ew. Fucking skinny, but he looks like prepubescent. Anyway. At that point, Robert calls off Dany's assassination too, but it's already too late to call it off.
That's right. Yes, they have already sent an assassin to Daenerys.
Right, and she finds him at the market. He is disguised as a wine seller,
offering wine to a pregnant woman. Even then.
Yep. and she almost tastes it.
That's right.
But Jorah, before this all happens, he gets a pardon because it turns out he was being sent to be the spy for Spider as punishment for something.
Mm-hmm.
But he ignored, so he can go back to Westeros and King's Landing. But
Spider sent for Jorah. He said the work is done, you're pardoned. Now poison that bitch.
Was this planned?
Were
you waiting for me to drop Spider?
I want to have a guitar. No, I didn't plan any of this. I wanted to have a guitar ready in case I had a point that required a guitar.
Okay, well there you go.
So where was the spider? After someone had chopped his balls. That's all the details I remember. Continue, baby. I love you.
That's pretty good. Yeah, so he decides to stay with Dany and ignore the pardon because he believes in her.
He believes in her.
He believes in her, and we'll see that he is right to believe in her.
That's right.
All right. So everyone's trying to like fight for the throne. Renly is trying to get rid of Cersei. Stannis is who's the middle brother. He wants to get in there. It's gonna get messy, as you can gather.
Yeah, I don't recognize most of these names.
Renly is the king's younger brother who was with him when
Roberts. Yes,
yeah.
he's a butt boy.
Oh God, did you just say that?
So where was this?
Yeah. All right. Anyway, yes, he is gay.
Okay.
I can't believe you just said that.
I think it was just because the other guy was so effeminately, like, wasn't he like the Prince of Flowers or something?
Oh yeah, the High Garden. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little.
Well, what? You're just like getting worse and worse.
My listeners think the same.
So anyway, Robert dies and Joffrey becomes king and is immediately an asshole, as expected.
Mm-hmm. Now, wait. We've already seen at this point where Ned confers with Littlefinger about like doing stuff together. Like Littlefinger basically pushes on him to move now, figure this out. And
Littlefinger's oh no, Varys is the one encouraging him to make Joffrey king. Okay. Right? Not Littlefinger.
I just know that Littlefinger in particular confers with Ned about, like, you know, whatever you do, like, do it soon. Do it now.
Oh, right, because this is before he turns on him.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, that's why I got confused, because I was like, no, wait, he's the
So that's what happened. We have the showdown in the throne room. Joffrey is already on the crown. He demands fealty from Ned, and Ned hands over the declaration to one of the armsmen. Basically, the final will of Robert, basically saying, like, I am to rule in this boy's stead. Doesn't even put out there that he's not the true king. He's just supposed to hold on to it until then. And then it becomes a thing like, are the armsmen going to turn against Ned, or Ned going to turn against the armsmen? And then Littlefinger's fucking boys just start skewering people.
Well, wait. Because, if you recall, she rips up the will and says, you will bend the knee.
Right.
Which is the first of many bend the knees we will be hearing. We hear that phrase a lot.
Which, if you suffer from limb pain, is just a good stretch to do every morning to get you prepared for the day.
Bend the knee.
Bend the knee from Game of Thrones. A PSA from Game of Thrones.
And then, you know, he doesn't, and Littlefinger grabs his neck, and it ends with, I told you not to trust me.
Right.
And there we are. That's the end of that episode. I guess episode 7?
Okay.
All right. Episode 8, we open with fighting erupting, and between the Lannisters and the Starks people.
Oh, yeah, they're taking out all of Ned's people. Sansa is pretty much held captive, but Arya is with her sword fighting instructor, who is fucking awesome.
Syrio.
They didn't show him getting his head cut off, so I am holding out hope that he is alive. Don't tell me.
All right.
But he takes on a bunch of people with a wooden sword, because there's only one thing we say to death, and what is that?
Not today.
Not to fucking day.
So, yeah, and he knows something's up because Lannister men come for Arya on behalf of her father, and he's like, that doesn't sound right. Arya, run, I'm fighting these bitches. And then...
With my wood sword.
No, he had a real sword. Didn't he have that?
No, he had,
he did still have the wood
they're
sword.
using for
That's right. So, yeah, bye-bye Syrio of Bravos. But we will meet more...
Not bye-bye Syrio, because he's alive, and we'll see him again.
Yep.
I have a feeling he will turn into a dragon.
We'll definitely see him again. And then Arya runs into some bullies. First she runs into the one bully.
Uh-huh.
And she kills him with needle.
Stabs a little fat boy.
Yeah, yep, she does. And she brags about it later. So yeah, not Arya's first kill, or not Arya's last kill. I'll give that spoiler alert.
So she escapes she just wanders around for, never mind, there's other things happening.
Right.
I was going to get right to the public square.
Well, Ned is in jail at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh yeah, that's right. Varys comes with basically the offer of if you bend the knee, you'll be allowed to live out your days at, Castle Rock. You'll be able to go out there and live out your days. Got some fine lobster.
That's not really Varys' voice.
No, I'm going with you go to Maine because it's Castle Rock.
Instead of Casterly Rock. Yeah,
Yes.
That's right. Or no,
Look, I only have one gimmick going so far.
I'm ruining them all.
Ruining the bit, my dear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All right.
You're ruining the bit, dear.
So, at the wall, this is when the Rangers come back. They come back dead, and they suspect they might be White Walkers.
Like, why is there no Rob? Well, it didn't seem like they suspected it because White Walkers have still been gone for years.
They didn't seem like they suspected. They seemed
something fishy.
It seemed like they were burn these people in case.
Right. And they didn't get around
because don't forget, they're thinking about Benjen not coming back.
Right. So in the middle of the night, Jon Snow's direwolf starts... Ghost, that's right. Starts going nuts, goes to the guy's room. Lord Commander's room, where he's not there. But there's a White Walker right there, and he basically saves the guy, and they burn him.
Well, Sam, actually.
Sam?
Doesn't Sam
burn him? Jon Snow throws the lantern at him and burns him up.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up in other things. But Sam knew it. Sam's the one who knew, because he read it in a book. That's why, yeah. So, and he told them, I think. I think he told them to burn them.
Sam read it in the... All right, no more of that.
Thank you. So again, back at King's Landing, Sansa begs to be betrothed to Joffrey still. Mm-hmm. Because she still wants to be queen, and she's like, it's not fair because my father committed treason. Sansa's still pretty selfish at this point.
Yeah.
But my father committed treason, but I won't.
I am not my dad.
Yeah, pretty much. So Cersei's like, fine, then you have to write a letter to Robb, your brother, telling him to bend the knee. And if we recall, Robb is about to wage war on the Lannisters. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, she'll kill Ned. So basically, she sends that to Robb. I think she sends something home. But basically, they're like, this isn't Sansa. This is clearly Cersei writing it. And
right.
So yeah, and Robb says, no, back in Winterfell.
That's right.
He's like, no, I'm not bending the knee.
Because in cold climates, joints can get very stiff, and there it is hard to bend the knee.
Yeah, he's like, in fact, I will march to King's Landing. And is this when the war started? Maybe he didn't even start moving.
No. He was already moving by the time they find out Ned's dead.
All right, that's right.
I'm going to jump ahead just because I remember this happens. They catch a scout, I believe one of Tywin's scouts?
Yes.
No, Jaime's scouts.
Well, it's one of the Lannisters' scouts.
Right. But
the spy.
Right, and they, he shows up just as they're discussing whether they're going to attack Tywin's men or Jaime's men. I believe one being north, one being south. And Jon Snow grabs the messenger.
No, Robb.
Robb
Stark.
Robb grabs the scout and pretty much is like, you tell Tywin 20,000 men are coming for him. And what happens is that information gets back to Tywin. Tyrion and the wild men are all ready to go out to the battle on the front line. Tywin gets knocked out by one of them because...
Tyrion does.
Tyrion, yeah.
Wait, we're like very far ahead.
I know, but I think it's better to like wrap up the individual things as opposed to the sequence they happen. Tyrion gets knocked out by one of the wild men's hammer, wakes up, and he's like, oh, did we win? And Tywin's like, yes, we defeated the 2,000 of them very easily. So it was all a ploy, a game of thrones, if you will.
Yes.
To, throw Tywin off. So they take a small chunk of their people, send it to Tywin, and the rest to Jaime's men who aren't expecting them. And we don't actually see that battle, but we see motherfucking Jaime coming back in chains.
You're going to probably have to lead that if we do it that way because I don't want to... I forget like where to end. You know, I've seen it, so I don't want to like say too much forget something.
I know where the next plot point comes
to,
which is they do that round of there, and then Jaime is captured.
That's fine. As long as you can do that, because I'm afraid I'm not going to remember the same details because I've already seen it, so I'm already mixing shit up. So do we want to talk about the Vale?
We could also talk real quick in that story. Tyrion meets a very nice... Is she a whore? What is she?
Shay's the best. But yeah, Shay is a prostitute, but she becomes like...
I believe the common term is sex worker.
Tyrion's, well, in this, it's whore.
There's nothing wrong with that
In Game of Thrones, it's whore. Well, there is. We're not getting into this. But yeah, no, Shay pretty much becomes...
Hooker with a heart of gold.
She becomes Tyrion's girlfriend. Pretty much.
We get the story of Tyrion's marriage.
Oh, yeah, that's truly tragic.
Really sad.
Yeah.
Pretty much they set him up to, like, save this girl who was being ravaged in the woods, and they hook up, and they get married, you know, as these things happen. And then find out the next day that, like, his brother... Was it Jaime?
Yeah,
Jaime had set all of it up. Like, we were just trying to get you laid, you idiot. And then they basically made him watch while everybody fucked his prostitute wife.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And Shay's like, you should have known.
Yeah. Wait, wasn't there a specific reason?
Because who's going to sleep with someone 2 hours after they almost got raped?
Yeah. Oh, God. I had the horrible thought. It was like, well, it's like when you're not hungry until you get to the restaurant.
Oh,
like, yeah, I'll just stop there.
Thanks. All right. So back at the Vale, they lost Tyrion. He's off with Bronn. So they're, you know, Catelyn and Lysa, they were already kind of at odds, and now they're really at odds. And, so she's there when Catelyn finds out that Ned is captured and Robb is going to start a war. And if you recall, Lysa actually got the letter first but didn't tell Catelyn right away because she's mad at her for... So Lysa's a bitch. And she's mad at her for letting Tyrion go.
I don't remember who Lysa is.
The sister.
Oh, the sister.
The breastfeeding one.
The breastfeeding
The
one.
witch one.
That bitch. I remember her from The Witch. She was great.
Yeah. Also breastfeeding in that.
Also breastfeeding. Hey, Tom Hanks has that thing where he has to pee in all of his movies. One actress is going to be the breastfeeding one. You didn't know that?
No.
Think of The Green Mile. Think of Forrest Gump. You know, I gotta pee. Think of... there's other ones where he has to pee a lot.
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
Guys, look up Tom Hanks peeing.
What about in the Da Vinci Code?
He pees right on the Last Supper, and that's where he finds the clue that says the Holy Grail is in the basement of the Alamo.
Oh, that's the other thing in the Vale. Lysa won't send knights to help Robb, which is important because later on that means because the Vale won't help. She has to go to Walter Frey to get help. Walder, not Walter. Walder Frey.
Is he the guy with like the bridged city?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they go to the bridge city where like, you know, let us pass your territory. And long story short, Robb and Arya are both going to have to marry children of his.
And they're gross.
Yeah, I just love
when Catelyn.
Are any of them decent looking? One
was.
Kind of.
Yeah, it was like, are any suitable? And she was like, one was. And then kind of makes a face of like, well, she'll have to do.
Oh, yeah, that dude was a creepo, too. He
was
also,
he's
like,
horrible.
He got a 15-year-old. Oh, I will fill her with seeds.
And he has an insane amount of children. Insane, yeah. But he like owes Catelyn's for her dad's help or something, so that's why he's willing to help her. So yeah, I think that's it on that storyline.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they joined some of their men with them.
Yeah, so they're
Rob's army grows.
So yeah, the Freys are joining the Robb Stark. Are we sticking with the war storyline?
I don't,
because
what I'm trying to get at this point is I'm just trying not to cover every little detail.
Well, because at this point, that's when Robb also calls them the King of the North. When they call Robb the King of the North.
Right, when everyone pretty much pledges their fealty, like, we're coming for Ned, but, well, actually, no, I'm pretty sure that's after we find out what happens to Ned. Because...
Oh, you're right.
Which, let's just get to that, the long and short. So Ned has to publicly declare himself to be treasonous. He's led out into the square. Sansa's on the stage with him and Joffrey and Cersei. Arya watches from the crowd. And pretty much he's been convinced. He makes a tearful apology of treason, expecting to be let to go to Castle Rock, get some lobster. I'm fucking up my main accent this week.
I'm sorry,
And in a last-minute swerve, as a wrestling fan, I love swerves. Joffrey goes fucking rogue and just does a whole, like, my beloved would hope, my beloved and my mother hope that we can forgive him and let him live out his days. But they have the soft heart of women, and treason will not be allowed in my kingdom. Cut off his head.
Yeah. You know what's funny is they all say, like, Jack Gleason, the guy who plays him, is, like, a wonderful human being to work
Joffrey?
with. Yeah, it's, like, great because Joffrey only gets worse.
He's like the modern Draco Malfoy. Like, don't you even tell me that actor is nice. I don't care.
Yeah.
Kill him with fire.
Oh, my God. He, like, as horrible as he is, he only gets worse.
Yeah. So, Ned gets his head chopped off.
Right.
And, frankly, like, had it come and didn't take the threat strongly enough, hesitated. Never hesitate. It's better to make the wrong move than be too late to make any move.
Right.
And part of that was just, he didn't even mention, like, the first mention he makes publicly of the king wants me to be in charge until so-and-so gets old enough is after it's already gone through. It's like, too late, buddy.
Right. So yeah, that sets a lot into motion because you could tell even Cersei is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, this is an important thing because you told me the show is about politics, and I see that there's alliances being made and broken all the time where, like, she doesn't want Ned dead. She wants him neutralized.
Right.
And you can't get him much more neutralized than sending him to Castle Rock, and then Robb, can't really do... We're sticking with Castle Rock. Okay. Can't really do anything, but now, like, they're setting it up so there's no other option but war.
Right. Castle Rock also gets confusing because it's Casterly Rock.
That's why we call it Castle Rock.
But you're talking about Castle Black.
Look, the place where the wall is.
Yes, Castle Black.
Is Castle Rock. Why?
Castle Rock.
Because you don't want to go down that road. I am doing Australian. Okay, no more. I gotta work on that accent.
Well, and speaking of the wall, when they find out Ned dies, Jon wants to leave the Night's Watch and go to help Robb in his war because Robb's obviously moving forward and him and Catelyn are going to kill them all. So they leave and go march for, and we've already discussed that because I think you already talked about Jaime, which is, this is not helping me.
It was the 3rd of September, the day I'll always remember. That was the day that Ned Stark died. I'm putting this away. This is bad. Okay.
Thank you. Because there's a lot going on. And it's hard to, like, remember everything.
Well, we don't need everything.
No, but, like, I'm trying to find the important points.
Right. Okay, so Arya is protected in the crowd by one of Ned's men or something. Somebody he has a really, but is not one of his men, who he actually looks to as he almost seems to be playing the role of like a Peter as he's being led through the crowd like Jesus, like where they're meeting eyes.
I didn't
and
get
like
that.
that's because you're one of the chosen people, which means you missed the best part of the book, the second half.
Sure.
But he pretty much takes Arya on, cuts off all her hair, says, "You're a boy now, you're my squire. Like, shut the fuck up. People are going to be looking for you."
Right.
And takes her under his wing, where she encounters two fat boys a fat boy and a skinny boy who bully her. And then she gets her sword and is like, you won't be the first fat boy I've killed.
Yeah. And then she finds Gendry, who is Robert
The bastard.
So
yes.
they
Robert's
befriend
bastard.
each other a little bit at that point.
Which has, again, the nice duality of her father and his father being such good friends. And now they're on the outs together.
Right. Also, just a quick update on Bran Stark. He keeps seeing the three-eyed raven in his dreams, which is important because the three-eyed raven's going to become a big piece of this.
All right, we see another scene of Joffrey being a dick. First by sentencing to be detongued a local bard like myself, just trying to make silly song.
So fast.
Wasn't trying. My tongue would have been out of my head. When I was 8, when I first called my uncle a jerk off for putting me in an arm bar and not letting go. And
what's an arm bar?
An arm. All you need to know is he's bending an arm. My uncles.
He's bending a knee.
Yes. My uncles would try out their like martial arts skills on their 8-year-old nephew, and it was very painful. And I didn't know what jerking off was. I knew the term jerk. I heard somebody say jerk off, like extra syllable. Let's change it up, variety.
Right.
But yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for calling my uncle a jerk off.
That's fair.
My
You
arm
deserve
got
that.
bent a little more.
Maybe not that, but
Oh, yeah. So Joffrey commands the guy's tongue to be taken out. He
Right.
then takes Sansa, still intends to marry Sansa, but does the smart thing of like, before we get married, I'd like you to look at your father's head on a pike. I does.
yeah, and her scepter.
And her yeah. So just like, hey, baby.
You have no one here.
Baby, wedding present. The only people you loved and we're protecting you. There's their head in a stick.
Yeah, no, it's bad. And Arya's gone at this point. Arya's on her own at this point.
And he has the thing. He's like, I'm not supposed. Oh, she considers like throwing him down, but the Hound steps in. And as I said, I have high hopes for the Hound. Like his allegiances don't seem clear. The exact thing I said was I could see him like locking the door on Joffrey to face his ultimate doom at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So like that. So I think that wraps all those storylines up. So going back to the Dothraki.
Yes. Let's just finish that.
Yeah. So they invade that town and they're raping and pillaging, and Dany's like, no, these people are mine.
I take many daughters today.
Yes. So she takes all of them so that they can't get raped, and because Drogo allows her to do that, one of his people challenges him and tries to fight him. And
though Drogo does kill him, tearing his tongue out of his throat, the guy does cut him right where like his arm meets his
and
chest.
he made it worse by leaning into it.
Yeah.
So
and somebody the evil woman immediately says like that needs to be treated.
Yeah, and
they're like, you're a witch.
They're
Shut
like,
up.
yeah, you can't touch our call. And then eventually Dany asks for her again when he's getting worse because
the wound gets infected.
Exactly. He falls off his horse, and they're like, a call who can't ride a horse is no call. They're like ready to abandon them, but they don't want to listen to her. So they pretty much make camp, and Daenerys asks the witch to help save him, and she's like, he's gonna die. Like, I can do this, but it's life, life for a life.
Blood, yes.
A life for a life. It's blood magic.
She slits his horse's throat.
Oh God,
him.
it's horrible. And like after this, a lot of the Dothraki leave because they're like, fuck this, we're out of here. We're not into the blood magic. So she's left with like the slaves. And some of the Dothraki stay. The Khalasar leave, who are like the army. So then Drogo pretty much gets life again, but is a vegetable.
Yeah.
And her son dies and apparently was born very
right.
like deformed and has wings and terrible things, and the witch is a bitch.
Yeah, the witch is pretty much like, yeah, I'll save your husband's life. That's all real, like, genie shit. Like, just give me my wish. Don't pull all this ironic
Yeah, and she's like, well,
me.
you didn't save me. Like, three men raped me before you saved me. And she's like...
Yeah, I don't remember that in Aladdin. You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend.
No, I thought that was kind of bullshit because I was like, okay, like, but she did stop you from getting raped further. Like, I mean, she didn't really need to turn like that towards Daenerys. But anyway, so Daenerys is like, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, witch. I'm putting you in
Fuck
my
you, bitch,
husband's funeral pyre, and I'm going to walk in.
What did the bitch witch have for her final meal?
What?
Chip witch. Chip witch for the bitch witch.
Chip witch. Okay, that was good. I was like, sandwich? So basically, Dany...
Go for a chip witch right now.
So Dany puts her eggs when... She eventually...
They set up a funeral pyre.
Oh, wait, no. She strangles him first because she suffocates him because she's like,
she pulls
I can't...
She pulls a big chief on McMurphy.
Yeah, so that happens, and she sets up a funeral pyre, puts the 3 dragon eggs in the middle.
And then she picks up the water filter, throws it through the window, and escapes the mental institution. Guys, go watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's real good. If you don't recognize these references, it's your fault.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Oh, I love you.
I know.
All right.
So, yeah, and she ties the witch to it, basically, and it sets it on fire, and she's like, I'm walking through, and Jorah's like, no, princess, and she's...
Yeah, Jorah was worried that she was going to throw herself on the funeral pyre, like a lot of, traditions of old, just burning alive.
Right, and she kind of did, but he didn't know that, like, she's
the
mother of dragons, and...
That feels no flame.
The dragons hatch, and, she... we missed the whole thing where she was like, when the call died, because this is important. When the call died, she was like,
she makes the offer to the Dothraki.
Right, to the Dothraki, and the slaves are like, you're here as free people, but like, so you can go as you wish, but if you fight for me, like, blah, blah, blah. So she makes this whole claim, which is important because that's how she first gets her, like, following. And then this all happens, and they're like, yeah, we believe now because the 3 dragons come out, and she's the mother of dragons, and if you have dragons, you can rule the world.
Right, and that's the point you made. Like, you could rule the world with 1 dragon. She has 3.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's where we end season 1. Let's not go this long without doing one again.
Okay. So before we finish, let us pay tribute and memorial to all the people we lost this season. The Butcher's Boy.
The Butcher's Boy.
He just wanted to sword fight with the tomboy princess.
The first runaway night watchman.
That's right.
Who got beheaded in Winterfell for desertion.
That Ned himself did.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pass a sentence, you should carry it out.
Yep. Lady Stark, Sansa's direwolf.
Oh, that poor dog.
Yeah, Sansa's direwolf.
The little fat boy that Arya stabs.
The fat boy Arya stabs. Drogo.
Drogo takes out some Dothraki himself.
Yeah.
But, Drogo goes. Which, you know what? Again, having not watched the show, I didn't understand what everybody's thing with Jason Momoa was. Like, he was Aquaman. Who gives a shit? He is very big screen presence in this.
Yeah, no, he's great.
All right. Any men from this season of the show you could shack up with? Who would you pick?
Jorah.
That's right. You have a
I love Jorah. I love Jorah. And that's why I love listening to Binge Mode do Game of Thrones, because one of the hosts, Mallory, loved Jorah. He is like, just... You'll see. You'll see.
I would probably... You know what? It's funny. I have 2 choices, and both of them are whores. Either one is the whore with the heart of gold.
Shay.
Or the one that's always, like, kind of fucking with Rob. That, like,
she's good, too.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
But, like, more serious characters, who would be your favorite?
I mean, well, if we're doing the bed one, it'd be Daenerys, because she's a strong woman. But if we're just talking about, like, people... you know what's funny?
The bed one.
I said that not even joking, just because the men are afraid of a strong woman, and I legit, like, nah, I fucking like a strong lady.
Oh, we didn't... And Ned died. We didn't say that.
We were gonna get that. We were obviously saving
I didn't know if you remembered that we kind of deviated.
I am well aware that Sean Bean died like he fucking should have for ruining Silent Hill.
But we deviated so far, I thought we'd forgot to circle back.
Favorite characters. Love the spider.
Varys.
fuck. Like I said, he hasn't done much, but there's something about the Hound that are like, oh, fucking Robert. We forgot Robert died.
Oh, yeah, Robert. See?
And again, going into that, I hadn't watched this whole thing, but some things you just pick up in pop culture. For me, Mark Addy just being one of the... Mark Addy and Sean Bean are the only people going into this series that have, like, are, like, known actors at that time that I was aware of. And the fact that I knew Sean Bean didn't live... But the simple fact by how big it was in pop culture and Mark Addy wasn't in there anymore, like, oh, well, he must die.
Yeah, well, that was the crazy thing about, like, watching...
Robert is Mark Addy,
Right.
if you don't know that aspect as well.
That was the crazy thing about watching Sean Bean die, because I didn't know he died when I watched it, because I was, like, watching it in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And you think this is the person's story who you're following, and then it's just, like, ripped out from under you, and you're like, wait... I thought we're following Ned and the Starks. Mm-hmm. And you realize throughout the show, different families will be more present than others.
Right. So, you know what famous TV show actually wanted to pull something off like that? They wanted to have the entire pilot episode, like, you know, this is your hero, this is the layout, and the end of the pilot episode, the protagonist was supposed to die.
Okay.
Lost.
So, what's his face was going to die?
So, originally in Lost, Jack was going to die. Jack was going to be played by Michael Keaton. So
totally different character.
Well, it becomes a different character. If you just need, like, an older guy, and especially, like, somebody who's a big name actor who wasn't doing much at that time, if he steps up and, like, saves the day through that, like, hour and a half series premiere and then dies at the very end. Like, it's fucking crazy.
That's true.
But then again, a Michael Keaton character, like, he would basically share too many traits with Locke if he was to live.
True.
So you would want to make him younger and more of a sex appeal.
Makes sense.
So I think that is episode 1. Season 1.
Episode 7 through 10.
Right. Well, this is all going to be released as one episode, so I'm going to stitch them all together.
All right.
So...
Cool.
So yeah, that's Game of Thrones. We have a little bit of more of a format developing. Tell you what, write me in. I don't know, babe, if you have anything on social media you want to...
Nah, I mean, you know me, I'm
there
a
you
little
go.
hidden.
Yeah, send a message to Perri Lerner on Facebook, because it will be the wrong Perri Lerner. But annoy that bitch.
Oh my
Why
God.
not?
She took my name. I used to be the only Perri Lerner, and then she got married and became a Perri Lerner and had the audacity to ask for my fucking website.
Yeah, so we're going to get back at that bitch. You guys send her a bunch of random Game of Thrones confusion. Just imagine you're going about your life and all of a sudden you just start getting emails like, Game of Thrones is so much better than you're making it. Fuck you, lady. What? Guys, I'm everywhere at Jesse Dram on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, formerly of Parler when that was a thing. Actually, no, I got rid of it on there. I changed my name because I didn't want people stalking me and telling my mother she sucks dick because they're Parler people and that's what they do. Send me an email at jessedram@gmail.com. Tell us what we could do better. We did one, so we're obviously going to do all of these. It's still just for, I got to tell you right now, the one thing I will not change is we will definitely be recording every few episodes, because this is just way easier to schedule of, like, let's watch 2 episodes and then let's go record for 15 minutes.
Right.
Like, I like that aspect of this format.
Yeah.
If you want me to throw my guitar out the window and never randomly dick with it, I will take that Don't you high five me.
I'm raising my hand.
High five. Guys, Game of Thrones Season 1. Thank you.
Our sigil's a rabbit.
Yes, our sigil is a rat. Wait, we said a rabbit and something else. No, we were going to go with a bat, and then we realized...
And then we were like, duh, bunnies. Like, that's clearly our house animal.
All right, later.